and we're going to be talking about optimizing operations today. So just like everything else, it's all data related because you guys know how much I like data. So the biggest thing, we're just going to dive right in. Without understanding the exact processes of all your operations, you don't know where there's improvement, where there's areas to optimize, where there's opportunities to either reduce costs, increase output, and in some cases, for us, we've created new revenue streams. So combination of all those. So first thing that you're going to do is just document every single process as a whole, right? So let's just start with mowing, say. So starting from what a customer calls in, what do? You answer the phone, right? Okay, then you collect the customer's information. You're going to get an estimate prepared. You're going to follow up. You're going to sign up a client, right? You're going to then put them into your CRM or computer system. You're going to route. You're going to provide that to the crew. So there's these steps, like every single thing from the moment somebody wants an estimate to the moment you bill them out, you need to document that, because each one of those processes can be broken down into a sub process, right? So from, let's just say, for example, you are going to start with the first one that I said. So you have all these main large ones that I said, like, so the customer's calling in, right? So then a sub for that is going to be, what's the script? Because if you're answering, but then once you have somebody else, you need to show them how to answer. So you're going to slowly take every single step. So each one of those main steps, like the customer calling in, getting their information, following up on an estimate, signing them up, those are an overhead, larger view. But now break those down into individual processes of the operations. So like I said, script. Another could be like the following up. The other one could be asking the right questions. So every single thing you're going to see overall, once this is all the way documented, where's there room for an opportunity to either reduce time or improve efficiency, right? So sometimes maybe they're calling in, they don't know anything about you. So if you're sending them to you from an ad or from a social link that already has that information, how do you get rid of this whole thing altogether? So that's what gets your brain start to go. How do we get rid of even people calling in to ask for this? Is there a way that they can just sign up online that cuts out this whole thing? Because once you cut out like some of these steps, you're more efficient. You create a smaller window of completion, and that just gives you more efficiency, more time and money to focus on something else, right? So even for, let's say another one is routing. So before, and I don't know how many of you guys remember like MapQuest, like we used to have to go to MapQuest, print every single thing out for the crew, and that would be their daily route. So we'd have to enter the data. We'd have to find the software to route. We'd have to send it or to an Excel and then print it off for the crews. But with routing, like you can just use Real Greens or Jobber or something else, and that'll take all of those steps, and it's condensed it into one step. But without just listing it all out, you don't know how long each step is taking. So maybe you're looking for, maybe there's something that can't be optimized anymore, but you have to lay it out from point A to point B to analyze every single thing. Once you can put these all on paper, that's when you want to sit down with your team or your spouse. You just sit down literally for a night, a whole day, and go through and say, okay, what can we brainstorm for this section? What can we brainstorm for loading trucks? What can we brainstorm for billing? Like there's stuff out there. If it's a piece of technology, if there's a new piece of equipment, if there's a widget that can make the whole thing just streamlined, even more efficient, you'll start to slowly minimize these times where it's like bam, 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 where somebody could sign up and it can go to the crew the same hour or the same half an hour and be billed out in 20 minutes after they're completed. So without doing anything and seeing it on an overall 30,000 foot view, you don't know what you're even spending the time on. Does that make sense? So you have to look at those indicators. From there, then you brainstorm where there's an improvement or not. What areas have the highest cost related to labor or machinery? What areas take the most amount of time? What ideas can you streamline those processes? Like I said, with the technology, that's a big thing. We're in now. Almost every single step of your operational process probably has a piece of technology. You can Google it. What's out there for following up on estimates? What's out there for collecting on payroll or on payables? What's out there to not have to write out an individual check to a vendor, but I can just pay it online with a click of a button, and saves me a stamp, a piece of paper, and an envelope. So every single thing, there is a way to optimize it. And you'll find out there's ways that you can just cut one of these out altogether. There's ways that there's even things that we've done in the past where it's been, okay, this is so archaic. Like, why is there a piece of paper and then something gets lost and then this happens and this happens? How can we just cut all that out so we don't lose money by missing something to bill? Where a technician can click on a completed task, something like Java or Real Greens, and it goes to the office and you can bill it out that same day that it's happened. And it turns it around. You're getting that money in quicker. But before all that stuff, you don't know what you don't know. So you have to keep those questions in the back of your mind throughout the entire day, no matter what you're doing. It could be the same for a landscape project. It could be just ordering the materials. How do we efficiently make sure all the materials are either at the job site or at our office before the guys even start the project? Can we order out the whole week ahead and get them delivered to us, or see if our vendor can deliver it straight to the project so we don't even have to spend time to load or unload? Even though it's $15, $20 more or $30 or whatever it is, that's still time that you don't have to think about it, where, hey, it's done. That's completely off of our mind right now. We can focus on what we do best. So that's what keeps entrepreneurs, as we all are, learning for efficiencies and learning for where the inefficiencies are, is finding improvements. Without that, I mean, that's what differentiates us from our competitors, because we know that there's people out there that are still using paper and pads for every single thing. They take it, they hand it to this person, that person takes it, they print off another piece of paper, they hand it to operations, operation takes it, they give it to a crew, the crew brings the paper back, they bring it to billing, and then they mail out a bill. So even to try and get completely paperless is a way to optimize. So there's a lot of different things you can do. And a big thing to always keep in the back of your mind is think of ways to get twice as much work done in half the amount of time. So when you can figure that out, that's when significant optimization happens. So think of that with mowing. An easy example is, okay, we have a 36-inch mower. How do we get a 60-inch mower? We can do twice the amount of square feet, half the time, but there's an investment in that piece of equipment, right? So some other ways that we've utilized and that you can utilize too, for example, like a CRM. So client data, it reduces searching for somebody's information of what they've done with you in the past. You can pull up all their dates, times they called, what emails you sent them, they sent you. There's measurement softwares out there, so you don't even have to send anybody to a job site. I mean, with Google now, you can just do a drive-by of the house if it's up to date and take a look at a tree or front of the house for Christmas lights. So you don't even have to go out there to look at all this stuff anymore, where you can just do it straight from your office and get that estimate out right away. With routing software, it's the same thing. Can you eliminate a position from routing to just highlight one whole area in Bellevue, like David was talking about, and just, okay, this route's done. We don't even have to think about it. It's optimized. Send it to the crew. You can also tightly route to reduce the stops and drive time as well. With tablets, right? Java, Real Greens, text can put it in and the office can bill it out the moment they're done. Direct deposits, another same thing. Saves time printing and signing checks for employees and team members. And the same with direct payments for vendors. One click, submit, pay it out through QuickBooks. You don't even have to send anything. It saves all that time in the office. ACH forms, not having to do collection calls, which everybody probably still has to do at some point, but to try to get everybody on ACH on direct payment for credit cards, e-check. So you don't even have to call to collect. As soon as that fertilizing is done, click submit sales receipt, run their card, run their checking account, you get money in the bank the next day. So without seeing all of those processes first, you don't know what's optimizing opportunities there are. And even like training and onboarding, like how much time does everybody spend training a new person? Can you put them in a path instead of a 2-week training program that you can shorten it down into 2 days? I mean, there is programs out there that'll help train them with mowing, landscaping, Christmas lights, where you can put them in a classroom, make them watch some videos, get some hands-on, and have it all done in 2 days. So whatever you can do to shorten the process, no matter what it is, that's what's key. So externally, there's things that can even make you money. So this is mostly about saving time, creating higher profit margins, creating bigger incentive programs too, based on getting that stuff done quicker. But there's good ways to look at it for creating a different revenue stream. So a good option that we've done is looking at all your equipment too. So you see that, there's people out there that have the big toe behind air compressors for sprinkler blowouts. That the same compressor is what people use for jackhammering streets or doing big construction jobs. Well, we saw that there's a reason why nobody's come up with a different way, because if it's not broke, nobody's going to fix it. But we said, why are people paying $25,000 for this big toe behind? They're choking it down to only use 80 CFM, and it's not even doing what it should be doing. So we created a mobile compressor unit that you can either fork in the back of a truck or mount to the back of a van. That's about half the price with an electric hose reel. And we did it first for our guys. We did it for all of our irrigation team members of, this is going to be easier. There's no trailer. They can move it from truck to truck. At the end of the year, we can fork it on a pallet rack. But then after people started seeing it, they wanted to know where they bought it from. Well, we started a company just to sell those compressors. So that turned into a process of optimizing for our internal team members into how can we help other people save time as well. So now we help other people save time and money by selling those compressor units to everybody else. So that's just one example as well. And even for another example is looking for stuff for guys to do in the winter times. I would always get rental houses for them to renovate, and we would turn them into rentals in the spring. But I was tired of going through the time and efforts of using a realtor, where I just decided to get my broker's license, where I could search online, find a property, buy it, don't have to deal with anybody. It's completed, it shortened it, it saves time and money, and then the guys can go work on it. So I literally listed out every single thing from our day-to-day yearly operations and found, okay, where's the biggest area for improvements? What piece of technology can we buy? Or what can we scrap because it's a big waste of time? And by doing that, your profit margins will jump to extreme numbers because you just compacted all of that stuff. So it's big to look at overall what your exact overhead processes are, break them down into sub-processes, and use that data to determine where the optimizations are as a company. Like I said, if you have ideas with one person is one thing, but the more people you can bundle in, bounce off brainstorms with each other, go on Google, search YouTube, search all these platforms of what there can be to save time, that's where the difference matters. So optimization is the biggest thing, I believe, no matter what, besides team members. That's first, but optimization has to happen, because without it, nobody looks for innovations. Nobody looks for opportunities to grow and to create better environments for your employees and your team members and your business as a whole. So those are the main things for optimization.